Hi everyone, this is Adrian at 18 Echo SF. I thought I'd make another video today and show you a change and an improvement that I made to my wife's Kimber Stainless Target 2 1911 9mm. When my wife first got this gun, and after shooting a number of different pistols, she settled on a 1911 due to the thinness of the pistol and how it fit her hand, and even with her advanced arthritis that she has, and a little bit of difficulty getting to the manual safety, she loved the 1911, how it fit her and how she shot it. Well, here in California, the land of the not free, they have a ridiculous law here that has to do with a list called the California Approved Handgun List. So every handgun that's available from all of the manufacturers throughout the industry, they are not all available here in California. The companies they must submit 3 handguns to the state. One of them is tested to make sure it's as the company has said. And then the state of California keeps all of these guns. Now, they don't get them back, and if they come out with another model, the company must then send another new model to the state of California and do exactly the same thing. Now, I actually had a conversation with Kimber about this issue, and they actually told me about 3 years ago that they will no longer submit new models of Kimber handguns to the state of California due to that policy. Anyway, back to the story of my wife's 1911. So when we went looking, originally we were going to get a Springfield, but there was a 1-year wait, and I didn't want my wife's, her love of wanting to shoot handguns and begin to become proficient with it. I didn't want that to wane, so we looked around, and my particular range that I go to is a dealer, and they happen to be a Kimber master dealer, so the guns are shipped directly to them. And I found the Stainless Target 2 because my wife wanted a 9mm so it would have less recoil and not affect her hands as much as a 45 would. So Kimber actually makes this exact same gun 2 different ways. Everything is the same with the exception of the sights. One of the guns it's called a Kimber Stainless Target 2, and the other one is called a Kimber Stainless 2. The guns, and both in 9mm, the guns are exactly the same, with the difference being the sights. One of them has target sights and one has combat sights. Well, in California, the one with the target sights is authorized. The one with the combat sights is not. So we were limited as to what we could buy, and we wound up buying the Stainless Target 2, which has the target sights. My wife's had this gun now 2.5 years or so, and she goes out and she shoots normally once a month. And as I have explained in a previous video, she has rather severe arthritis throughout her body, probably the worst form of rheumatoid arthritis you can get. It's called psoriatic arthritis. But she's a trooper, and she puts up with it and takes all the medications, and she has to get an infusion at our local outpatient clinic every 7 weeks to try to counteract the effects of the arthritis. But anyway, it doesn't stop her. She's one tough girl. So what happened over the past year, as she started to become more proficient with the gun and able to do things better, twice she cut herself racking the slide. The inside of her left index finger actually caught the edges of the target sight. And you'll see, here's the original sight that came on the gun. There's see if I can get it to look, here we go, get it in the light. This is the adjustable target sight, and the edges are pretty severe when it comes to being sharp. And they happened to catch her right basically in here and cut her hands 2 or 3 times. So she didn't really complain that much, but I thought maybe I should begin to really look around and see if we could at least change those sights out. So on one of my my other Kimbers that I had, I no longer have, I sold it. It was a Pro Carry in black. I sold that to a friend of mine, but prior to selling that gun to him, I changed out the stock sights for a pair of Heinie sights, Dick Heinie, Heinie, and they make what are called straight 8 sights. And instead of having 3 dots, it's basically 2 dots, one on top of the other. They work fabulous, as long as your eyes can see the front sight, which is a little more difficult for me at this stage in my life. Anyway, so they didn't make the straight 8 sights in. Oh, I'm sorry. They may have made them in the Heinie combat sights, but my wife actually prefers a blacked out sight. I had her shoot a couple of different pistols, some with blacked out sights and some with white sights, and she actually preferred the black sights. And as it turns out, Dick Heinie does make a set of sights that was a replacement for her particular pistol. Now you'll see back here, get my finger out of the way, this notched out section of the slide where the sight actually fits into. That's the reason that most companies don't have sights as a replacement for this particular model, because of this cutout back here. Heinie did make a set of sights for her gun, which I'll show you. Let's see if I can not bang the camera here. And as you'll see, these are very, very nice combat style sights. Let me see if I can get it to focus in. There we go. We replaced both front and rear sights, and you'll get an idea of the sight picture. It's very, very nice. Just a nice amount of white on both sides of the front sight when you look through the rear, and these sights are perfectly smooth. Yet they could you'd still be able to rack this on your belt if you had to, if one arm was injured, of course. So as you can see, they're really fabulous looking. As I've told you before, let me see, I'll set this back down again. This gun is a fantastic handgun. It shoots beautifully. I put a video out of my wife shooting this gun, and as you all saw, she actually shoots very, very well for someone who has not had much training other than from me. As I also mentioned, she's getting ready to take a defensive handgun course up at ITTS, just to the east of Los Angeles. So I wanted to show you the switch out on the sights in case any of you happen to own this pistol. And if you don't, again, I'll go back and just reiterate, this is a fantastic 1911 in 9mm. It is beautifully made, and I can't say enough good things about it. After she had it about 6 months, I did buy her, she wanted them, a set of Crimson Trace laser grips, which are on here right now. And when we go to the range, she doesn't normally practice with the laser sights on. She practices with the iron sights, and to make sure that in case the batteries would fail and if anything bad was happening, she'd still be able to come up on target. And then when they're home and they're in the side stand of our bed on her side, the switch is on, so she has the benefit of the laser beam as well as the iron sights. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of explain to everyone that if you were out looking around for a set of sights for this particular gun, if you happen to own one, and you want to try to change out your sights, you will be limited as to who you can find to make them. And Dick Heinie is really the place to go. There again, this is the second set of sights that I bought from the company. This is model number 356, as you'll see, made specifically for the Kimber Stainless Target 2. I forget what the price was on these right now, but I think they may have been about $80 or so. And then I had my local gunsmith install them just to make sure it was done correctly. So anyway, if you're looking around for a great set of sights, Dick Heinie makes wonderful sights in every configuration. So that's the reason for the switch out on her sights. I also thought I would mention for any of you, most of you who live in free states, anywhere outside of California or New York or New Jersey, and if any of you think that California must be a wonderful place to live because of how sunny and warm and all of that, take it from me, you would be wrong. Well, at least for now, for the past 4 days, it's been raining here in Southern California. I live in the San Diego area. And there is nothing for me, this is a little bit of a rant, I realize, but there is nothing in this state that warrants moving here for sure, unless a job happened to bring you here. I'm retired now, and at some point, my wife and I will definitely get the hell out of here for someplace, much, much better to live. There isn't one thing about this state that's worth anything. It's bankrupt, both financially and morally. It has been controlled by the super far left for so long, it's basically impossible to get any of them out of office. The Dianne Feinsteins and the Barbara Boxers of the world, and the rest of the state legislature, which is completely controlled by the left. So they pretty much have the run here to do pretty much everything that they want. We do have a fantastic gun association, Cal Guns, and the Second Amendment Foundation, of course, keeps their eye on California because of how anti-gun this state really is. I'm not sure that any of that can ever change, but anybody who loves guns, who thinks they want to move to California just because it's warm all the time, I would suggest you look elsewhere, because there is a lot better places. Tennessee sounds like a really good place to me. Anyway, and the cost of living here, of course, is just outrageous, the housing prices and everything else. So sorry for my rant. This was supposed to be about my wife's gun, but I hope you appreciate me taking the time to show you the sights and explain why this was done. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment or send me a PM. I'm always glad to respond. So stay well and safe out there, folks.